Greetings to all the students. Welcome to the YouTube channel of NEXT IAS. And you are watching Daily News Decoded, an initiative of the NEXT IAS, where we discuss important articles published in the newspapers The Hindu and the Indian Express. Today, with the help of this video, I will be discussing important articles published in both the newspapers dated 10th of January 2025, and the articles to be followed as such: Stampede, a major reason of crowd management, a reason to talk, a relationship between India and Afghanistan, wildfires in Los Angeles, farmers union protest, the case of MSP, and last, human genomes project. So let's start with the first topic of today's Daily News Decoded, that is visible on your screen. It's a Tirupati Stampede issue. CM Naidu's suspends 2 officials and orders judicial probe. We know that on 8th of January, a recent stampede took place in Andhra Pradesh in the Tirupati temple. So this article mainly focuses on the issue of crowd management in India, the challenges, the things that needs to be done, the others examples associated. Certain previous year's questions that UPSC has already asked. The stampedes during religious and public events had led to significant loss of life in India. Identify the key challenges in managing large crowds and suggest disaster management protocols to prevent such incidents. It was asked in mains 2004, and in mains 2020 UPSC again asked another question, that is discuss the recent measures initiated in disaster management by the government of India, departing from earlier reactive approach. Moving ahead, first we need to understand there is a little bit difference between the crowd and a stampede. A crowd is a group of people that gather together, usually for a common purpose based on some emotions. But on the other hand, the stampede is an impulsive mass movement of a crowd that often results in injuries and death as well. Most of the stampede are being done or resulted into the death because of 2 major things. The first is traumatic asphyxia, it is the partial cessation of the respiration. The second is myocardial infarction, that means the heart attack. Moving ahead, witness that there has been a number of incidents took place in India. We know that onwards 1996, the National Crime Record Bureau, NCRB, has been collecting the data related to the stampede death. If we specifically go with the data, from 1996 to 2002, India has witnessed 3935 stampede incidents. Second, if I have the data from 2001 to 2014, India had witnessed 3216 incidents with 2416 casualties. Moving ahead, 2009 was the year where India has the highest number of stampede. 2022 was the second lowest number of incidents of stampede took place. That was hardly 6. But recently again, in the past 2 and 3 years, or recently in the past couple of months, we had witnessed an increase of recent stampede incidents taking place in India across the states. Recently, the Telugu actors incidents on the release of the promotional event of Pushpa 2. Hathras incident was there, and just 2 days back we have this Tirupati Mala scheme. One more specific data which is very unique and you people must know about is that 79% of crowd related disaster in India, 79% of crowd related disasters took place during the religious gatherings. Move ahead. Now, why do we need to control the crowd? Why is the need for the crowd management? We can understand this thing with the following factors. The first is rumors. We often has felt that the rumors let the agitation in the minds or the people get panic, which led to a stampede to take place. Is a major concern in India across the different regions for say concert, the music concerts, the religious gatherings, the sports events also. Avoiding responsibilities. It has been even witnessed that individuals assume that this is not my responsibility to tackle certain challenges or if effectively taking place. This even led to the situation that the crowd disorganized and disorder took place and the stampede hovered. A large gathering within a particular area even led to the situations of slow actions, which makes the task for the police personnel or for the administration more tedious and complicated. And this large gathering even led to a situation, if the crowd is in a small and the enclosed space, it even hinders the communication and the movement because of the panic that is there in the minds of the people. Now, talk about certain legal and constitutional aspect. Article 19 from the Constitution of India says that Article 19(1)(b) says that provides citizens rights to assemble peacefully and without arms. Article 19(3) says that the government can impose reasonable restrictions on such rights. There is a Police Act of 1861 which lays down conditions that may be imposed for regulating lawful professions and assemblies to prevent public inconvenience. Disaster Management Act 2005 says that vehicular and human traffic and other areas related to crowd management. It gives certain guidelines related to the crowd management. Now, the factors that prompt crowd disasters. What are those reasons because of which we can have these crowd related disasters took place in India or elsewhere? Start with the first part. First, we talk about this general reasons. In general reasons, the first reason comes to mind is structural failures. For say collapsing of the barriers, and we have this thing took place with respect to the Morbi Bridge. With respect to the Morbi Bridge, collapse across the river in Gujarat. Second, terrain challenges, slippery roads, limited entry exit points. It even a case of the crowd disaster. Comes with one example that during the Mahanandara Devi temple, Maharashtra, there was a unique custom that the people break the coconut, and breaking the coconut let the steps slippery. That led to the huge stampede took place in Maharashtra. We can have this as an example in the terrain challenges. Fire hazards, unauthorized fireworks, non-functional fire extinguishers and electricity failures led to this situation. A year back or 2 years back, we had this situation took place in Delhi in one of the coaching institution. We had this situation took place elsewhere in Gujarat in another coaching institution, and we had this situation took place in Upahar Cinema in 1997 as well. Very important thing is crowd behavior. If I talk words of sociologist Neil J. Smeltzer, he coined the term craze, and with his theory of collective behavior, Neil J. Smeltzer said he defined the term craze as the mobilization for action based on certain positive results with fulfillment of the wishes. And why this crowd behavior thing is highly important, we can understand this thing with the incident that took place in Andhra Pradesh. What was happening there? In Tirupati, the devotees were crammed inside the park and they were all waiting for the tokens to get the darshan. Suddenly, the police personnel parked there got to know that the elderly women having certain breathing problems. They rushed inside the hall. just to safeguard her condition or to make her better, they started or they just opened a little bit of the door to make elderly women out of the particular room or the parking. The opening of the gates let the people standing at the last thinking that the gates have opened to collect the tokens for the darshan. They started pushing, and this situation led to a grave stampede took place just 2 days back in Andhra Pradesh. This is that crowd behavior aspect which is Neil J. Meltzer has been talking about. With one more aspect with respect to this crowd behavior, one more thing that comes to our mind is the crowd density issue. In crowd density, one thinker that comes to our mind is Chun Hao Shao. He quoted that a density, that means a people more than 3 to 4 at the per square meter if they be waiting for more than 8 minutes. If they're waiting for more than 8 minutes, that means if the evacuees spend too much time waiting for the evacuation or for the things to take place, it creates panic among their minds, and the stampede took place. We can justify this thing example with all the temples that you people must be going on. Go to majority of the temples nowadays in India, you say there is a grills are being used and the layers has been made for the movement of the people. And the guards that are there to safeguard the stampede kind of situation always pushes the people to move out. You have your darshan, move out. These things are being done by the guidelines based on the statistics that I just gave, example of this Chun Hao Shao and Neil J. Meltzer. Last factors, this comes as a very general reason, is the rumors. When it comes to the rumor, the example that comes to my mind is in Lima, Peru in 1963. In Lima, Peru, 1963, a football match between Peru and Argentina was going on. And the people got annoyed because of a controversial decision given by the referee on the football pitch. This led 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 people in the stadium to coming or to trespassing the area and coming on the football ground. Having seen 4 and 5 people or more coming to the ground, the police personnel passed the tear gas or they threw the tear gas upon them. This inhumane behavior by the police personnel led to a greatest stampede on the football stadium in Peru. These rumors are one of those examples. Another example that comes to my mind with respect to the rumors is one times in Mehrangarh at the Jodhpur, a people were in the gathering in the lines, and somehow there was a rumor got spread that the wall is going to collapse, and this rumor that the wall is going to collapse led to the situation out of the control and stampede took place. So these are those factors. Now there are certain issues as well related to the governance which works as a factors for the crowd disasters. The first is the crowd control failures. Overcrowding beyond the venue's capacity. We can understand this thing with the Hathras stampede. The police person said that we gave permission for 50,000, but there were more than 1 lakh of the people gathered at the same event. Overcrowding. Second, social cohesion versus division. In India, a gathering are the part of the social cohesions. People mostly make a get together just to make sure that they understand and spend some time together. But during those social cohesion, or I would say during those public gatherings, the issue of inclusivity, the treatment of minorities sometimes let the situation out of control. Third, security deficiencies, under deployment of the personnel, poor planning, inadequate sectoral deployment by the authorities, and I can quote the Seoul crowd in 2002 incident that took place only because of the security personnel aspects. Another, coordination gaps. Some of the times there is a lack of coordination in the different stakeholders that are providing the securities. For the transportation, a lack of coordination between the transportation and the police personnel and the administrative personnel, for say, or the security personnel or the service providers. Last, environmental impact. A large gathering of people at the very same event or the very same venue creates environmental hazards like pollution of water bodies, waste generation. It puts even strain on the local ecosystem, and balancing the local ecosystem with the overcrowding people is a major challenge for the administration to tackle with. Now there are certain suggestions that we need to understand. First is the medical facility. Mobile vans with the doctors or nurses, ambulance van must be there. Lost and found, a centralized services and a proper communication and the loudspeakers should take place. Food and lodging provided for the pilgrims and the volunteers must be in the queue and must be done structure wise. Refreshment, accessible drinking and refreshment stations for say water must be there at the succession intervals. Fire safety, there must be a clearly defined no fire zone and firefighting services in the particular area. Documentation, videography to monitor activities must be done so that if a decision is needed to taken, we and the administration can take a prompt decision just to evade situations like Stampede. Training, the most important thing is providing the disaster awareness through booklets and the videos to all the people coming to participate in the gathering, so that a better cohesion between the service providers and the people at large will take place and we can avoid situation like Stampede. National Disaster Management Act, we just talked about, that it deals with how to deal with these kind of situations, and there certain guidelines has been given. The guidelines first thing talk about deployment of the technology for say CCTV cameras or CCTV surveillance just for better monitoring aspect, for prompt decision making skills. Artificial intelligence, predictive analysis, how the crowd will behave in near future if this kind of situation will take place. Drones should be used for better monitoring. Public announcement system, this is the most important aspect considering the diversity of the crowd that is coming in India in different places in a gathering. A proper communication should take place between the people and the administration so that all the communications, all the guidelines, all the issues must be given or reached to the people within the time limit. Second, we can talk about the aspect of police and administrative measures. Increased deployments. Per ratio person should be enhanced in India just to deal with it effectively. Barricades, proper barricading at the entry and exit point and in between of that, so that a queue of the people will not come along, and the theory of Chun Hao Shao, as I mentioned, the case of crowd density will not enlarge. Rapid response team should be in an effective mode that if required, a particular person who are very well trained in handling certain disasters will come and tackle the situations effectively. Capacity restrictions. Next is training and capacity building. This is the most important thing, that all the people who are involved must be known that this is my responsibility associated. And along with the responsibility of individual or the team associated, a cohesion between the teams should take place and must be guided with the help of this training and capacity building initiative. Fourth, infrastructure improvement. There has to be a wider pathways. There has to be a queue management. And this is the reason that I was telling you that in India nowadays, if you visit a major temples nowadays, the people standing out there for the crowd management, they keep on pushing you away, not letting you stay or standing in one area more than 2 or 3 minutes, just to evade that stampede kind of situation will take place. That is why a wider pathways and the queue management issue must be there. Next, technology in ticketing, online ticketing. Online ticketing, you people have the money, go and buy the online ticket at particular time interval as when must be designed so that this kind of situation can be halted. Time slot allocations, this is the thing that I just talked about with the help of online ticketing. 6. Awareness campaigns, promoting the use of mobile apps for navigation and real-time updates. We should definitely have the data that who or what kind of people or different section of the people are coming to a particular area. And with the help of the mobile apps, a proper navigation and real-time updates can take place and the prompt decision can take place. Now, you people must have been thinking that this concept or this issue was only linked with the paper 3 disaster management. But no, my dear friends, in paper 4, especially in ethics, in case studies part, UPSC may ask you case studies based on these kind of situations to take place. So on your screen, there is a case study to practice you people at home, practice at home. The case study says that you are a citizen living in an important religious pilgrim site town, witnessing large footfall of devotees each day. During an upcoming important festival, a political gathering of religious nature is scheduled in temple premises, expecting to draw large number of devotees and politicians and party workers. You are particularly distressed about the growing number of stampedes in recent past and being concerned about safety of the citizens attending the function and going to temple. Consider the following questions in the above context. What immediate and proactive measures you would suggest to ensure the safety of the citizens and prevent a stampede during the upcoming festival and political gathering? Second, how would you balance the competing interest of religious devotees, political organizers, public safety while ensuring the smooth conduct of the event? If a stampede occurs due to inadequate planning, how would you determine accountability among the stakeholders? And what steps would you take to ensure justice for the victims? C. What role can citizens and the local community groups play in ensuring the safe and ethical management of such large-scale events? How can their participation be encouraged? And D. Considering limited resources and personnel, how would you ensure the efficient allocation of manpower, technology, infrastructure to prevent potential safety hazards? We must have been practicing how to writing an answer related to the case studies. But one thing that I would like to suggest you, we need to bring one administrative case study, especially while dealing with these kind of questions. So I'll give you one example of Dahod district. Dahod district of Gujarat. In Dahod district, every Thursday there is a area called Hat Bazaar where more than 10,000 people used to gather every Thursday. Effectively managing more than 10,000 people and letting the fair and the things take place has been a highly contentious and the troublesome aspect for the administration. But the district administration of Dahod has been sufficiently and promptly safeguarding the interests of the people and the groups altogether. You people may quote this kind of case studies in your example to quote that yes, this should be the way. And in Dahod district, there was a proper management, better coordination, better real-time monitoring, better entry-exit points, effective uses of the ambulances and the medical professionals, and at last, effective communication from the side of administration with the people took place. And that is why a congregation of more than 10,000 people every week on Thursday can be handled easily. Now move to the next topic. Now let's start with the second topic, which is a reason to talk India-Afghanistan. So as visible, recently we have witnessed that the Foreign Secretary met with the Taliban's designated foreign minister, and as the current growing geostrategic situation going on in the Taliban, One phrase from the side of US Army General Davis Petraeus comes to my mind. He said that in Afghanistan, the question is not to win, whether we can win, but whether we have the patience to outlast the problems. This specifically deals with the situation of Afghanistan at this moment and India's dealing with Afghanistan. Why this topic is important? As per the syllabus given in General Studies Paper 2, India's relationship with its neighborhood is exactly written out there. In previous years as papers, Mains 2013, Mains 2019 and Mains 2021, we have witnessed that UPSC has asked 3 different kind of questions based on the current happenings in Afghanistan in UPSC Civil Services Mains examination. Now, start this topic. We'll first move towards the historical and the cultural links of the Afghanistan. We know that India do not share its borders with the Afghanistan. Still, both share common history and the cultural linkages. Afghanistan in the recent part has been a traditional invasion route always on the Indian subcontinent. We have known that Khyber and Bolan passes were used by Kushans, Shaks, Mughals, Mongols to invade India. Other historical and cultural links, we know that ancient times, the Indus Valley civilization links both the countries with cultural aspect. For say, Shotugai and Mundigak were the sites of the Indus Valley civilization which is present in Afghanistan. There was even a Gandhar connection. Kandahar was the ancient Gandhar, which is the one of the 16 Mahajanpadas in the Mahajanpad period. India and Afghanistan shared a historical ties through the Kushans and the Greeks as well. Afghans even became the integral to Indian polity during the Delhi Sultanate, which influences the administration and the culture of Indian subcontinent. Recently, in 2001, an agreement which strengthened the ties between the two nations when the both nations signed strategic partnership agreement, which had 6 major pillars. The first was to establish the universities in the Afghanistan along with providing food and the food aid to the students. Second, it even led the construction and the establishment of the parliament building in Afghanistan. Third, it even led the construction of Dilaram-Jarang road connectivity in Afghanistan. It even led the construction of Salma Dam project in Afghanistan and the construction of power line from Bule Khumri to Kabul. And the last, the supply of 250,000 tons of wheat to the Afghanistan. Along with that, with this strategic partnership agreement, we witness that India became the front runner in supporting the training to the Afghan army. This has been the cultural aspect. Moving ahead, if we move ahead, India's relationship with the Afghanistan in the historical backdrop can be differentiated in 4 major phrases. The first phrase we can say the period of cordial and mutual understanding, which is a case of 1947 to 1970. Coming to this period, in this period we can witness that Afghans' participation in the Asian conferences was there, where they were trying to link and connect itself with the international fraternity. India and Afghanistan at the same time, because of the pressure from the international community, remained neutral in its own stand. They both signed a treaty of friendship in 1950, and based on the hostility with the neighboring country Pakistan, they both, India and Afghanistan, fosters India-Afghanistan cooperation in different regimes. In this phrase, we have seen that India and Afghanistan has led their tilt towards the Soviet Union, and they both became the key partners in the military equipment buyer from the Soviet Union. Moving ahead, there is a second phrase which says period of confusion and policy absence, which is quoted as 1971 to 1992. In this period, we have witnessed that the political instability was hovering over the entire Afghanistan because We know that the King Zahir was deposed by his cousin, and it led to the further deposition taken place by the different associated, leading to the power struggles in Afghanistan. This power struggle in Afghanistan paved a way forward for Soviet military invasion in Afghanistan in 1979, which ultimately changed the entire strategic or geostrategic aspect of the Afghanistan. India's focus during this particular part remained neutral, or I would say unfocused, because Indian bureaucracy or the leadership was more prone or busy with their internal conflicts. That in that particular area we have seen the rise of US and Pakistan emergence in the Afghanistan as the key players. India in the same time was the only country from the South Asia who recognized the communist government of the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. The third phase, the period of hostile and nefarious activities 1993 to 2001. In this period, we have seen that the struggle for the ethnic and the tribals erupted. Why? Because we have witnessed that there was a ousting of the Soviet Union took place from the Afghanistan, which led to the space available for who will win and who will win as among the power struggles to rule the country. Second, we have witnessed in this aftermath that the Taliban rise was there in 1994, which ultimately paved a terrorism and the soil of terrorism to take place on the Afghan soil. Third, terrorist organizations like Taliban and Al-Qaeda caused the breakdown of India's presence in Afghanistan, and we can witness this thing with the two major actions that took place during that phase. First was the destruction of the Bamiyan Buddhas, and the second, the hijacking of the Indian Airlines flight 814, which halted the relationship between the two countries. But the fourth stage, the period of strengthening the mutual relation 2001 onwards, we have seen that the rise of democracy started taking places in 2011 after the Taliban demise, and then India took a cautious approach after the Taliban's fall because it has their past experiences intact. But afterwards we have seen that India started opening consulates and established diplomatic links with the Afghan government and was majorly involved in construction of the humanitarian aid aspect and the developmental aspect. Third, we have seen that the strategic partnership 2011 was signed between the two countries, which has already discussed. Moving ahead, why Afghanistan is so significant to India? We can understand this thing with the help of the three major domains. First, the geopolitical importance. Second, the geostrategic importance. Third, the geo-economic importance. So the first with the geopolitical importance, which is the regional stability. If there is an instability in the Afghanistan, it will definitely lead to chaos within South Asia and the connecting regions like Central Asian countries. That is why a peaceful Afghanistan is a win for all. Countering Pakistan is the second aspect. Pakistan in-depth approaches towards gaining power in Afghanistan is visible and is detrimental to the India's interest in Afghanistan. Terrorism concerns. We have witnessed that the recent terrorist activities or the earlier terrorist activities, or for say groups like Haqqani, Al-Qaeda, erupted or made established because of the instability that prevailed in the Afghanistan all over the time. Fourth, the soft power projection. India was majorly linked with its soft power approaches and hard power is not there. That is why a peaceful stability Afghanistan is of India's own importance. Second, the geostrategic importance. Strategic location, as I mentioned in this video, that it is connecting the Central Asia with the South Asia. That is why many of the trade routes can surpass with the help of this Afghanistan. Even with respect to the India, if I say, portions like Chabahar can definitely reduce the dependence upon Pakistan of India when India tries to connect or to feed its energy hunger people with the natural resources prevalent in Central Asian region. This is the first one, connectivity to Central Asia. Third, China's influence. We have witnessed that the Belt and the Road Initiative, or I say the part of CACP, and Afghanistan's tilt toward the CACP has been a major cause of concern of India's interest in this particular region, and especially the amount of money that India has invested in Afghanistan. Energy transit hub. Certain major, for say Tapi pipeline has been the major energy transit hub, and which is of great significance for India's aspect as well. With the help of this pipeline, India can reduce its energy dependence upon foreign countries. Third, geo-economic importance. First, the natural resources. We know that Taliban having a rich natural resources like iron ore, lithium, rare earth materials, and it has a great trade potential as well, especially with the link to the India, the pharmaceutical market, the textile market can have a great market in Afghanistan. The infrastructure investment. It has been said that India has nearby spent more than $3 billion in Afghanistan in the development aspect. So moving this infrastructure investment, India can definitely gain economic wise in the near future. Chabahar Port and International North-South Transport Corridor has the potential to make sure that India's dependence upon the high cost of energy hunger will remain reduced for the future. Moving ahead, this is the perfect time to talk about how India is trying to have a link or sync with the Taliban regime at this moment. And we can understand this thing with the help of certain meetings that took place. For say engagement, the first part is India, although after the US exit, or I would say the sudden US exit, evacuated the embassy in 2021, but after that India has held certain meetings with Taliban representatives just to make sure that the bilateral ties with both the nations will boost again. Humanitarian aid aspect. India has consistently providing wheat, medical supplies, COVID-19 vaccine, winter clothing, the earthquake reliefs we can witness, and the Indian rupees of 200 crores in the fiscal 2023-24. India even led a resolution passed in UNSC, Resolution 2593, which ensured that Afghanistan will not be used for any nefarious or terrorist activity. That means India has made sure that the security concerns attached with the stability in the Afghanistan will be taken care of. And last, the approach. With the Taliban, this is the major concern that India till at this moment has not recognized the Taliban. And India's focus has been mainly on the aid and development and continuous engagement with the Taliban regime. Now we should talk about certain challenges associated with India's interest in Afghanistan. The first challenge will be, yes, the Taliban's recognition, but the sudden evacuation or the sudden exit of United States of America from Taliban has led Taliban to take or fill the gap in there politically. But the major concern is that the fundamental communist approaches or the atrocities that Taliban has been known for pouring upon the women and the minorities do not align with the core values of liberty, democracy and freedom of India, and that is a real challenge. Second, extremist sanctuary. Afghanistan definitely risks harboring anti-India militants, and we can understand this thing with the help of one example. Recently, certain militants were caught in the land of J&K, and they were caught with the assault rifles being made by USA, which was left in Afghanistan, which is now which was found in India. Chinese influence. India definitely need to counter the Chinese strategic in-depth or the Chinese need for hunger with respect to the minerals found in Afghanistan to make sure that its own interests will remain intact in Afghanistan. Pakistan roles. Pakistan for the past decades had been consistently trying to make inroads in the Afghanistan so that it can serve the purpose of bringing instability in or on the Indian soil with the help of the terrorist or organizations. Instability. If instability in the Afghanistan will remain there, it will definitely counter the long-term projects and the connectivity issues for India, which will definitely somehow become a halt or reduce India's economic strength as well. Now, the last part is way forward. What should India do? So, India has these 4 options available at this moment. First, supporting Afghanistan-led peace process. India has been known for raising its voice for the democratic values in the entire world. And this is the correct time for India to launch this Afghan-led peace process and should make liaising with other international countries to make sure that the Afghanistan will remain stable, which is visible and which is fruitful for all the countries associated. Strengthening regional cooperation. This has to be there that India should bridge the link between the countries of Afghanistan and the Central Asia countries on the lines of cultural heritage, so that the more connectivity will make sure that there will be a little bit pressure upon the Taliban to make sure that they will allow the freedom and the other core values in its own country. That will be only happening with the help of regional cooperation. Third, strengthening security cooperation. India should make inroads with the help of the other countries to make sure that the terrorist organization will not take place on the land of Afghanistan, and it will be only be done when India tries to counter this thing with the help of the security blocs. Fourth, enhancing economic engagement. As we know, India for the past 1 decade has been consistently working on the path of development. This is the perfect time for India to maintain its developmental and aid projects which is being given to the Afghanistan, so that a better people-to-people connectivity can take place and India can win the heart of the people of the Afghanistan. This should be India's way. Now let's move towards 3 topics of explained section of this Daily News Decoded video. The first topic is India releases a compilation of 10,000 human genomes from 83 population groups. This topic is of immense importance with respect to your prelims and mains General Studies paper 3 Science and Technology. Going ahead, first we get to know about genome and genes. You people must be having this section or this figure over your screen. For say this is the part of the DNA. This is the double helix structure of the DNA. But this small section of the DNA we can call it as a gene. A very small or short section of the DNA is called gene. On the other hand, if I talk about the aspect of genome, genome is mostly made up of DNA. Genome is mostly made up of DNA. That doesn't mean that genome does not comprise RNA, but mostly DNA. Other hand, genome is a complete set of a DNA or RNA of an organism. This is genome. Chromosome. Each human cell has a pair of chromosome with nearby 3 billion base pairs. The base pairs are limited with the cytosine, guanine, adenine and thymine, the base pair aspect. These are the 4 molecules which already have discussed. Now, genome sequencing. What is genome sequencing? So, genome sequencing refers to the process where we determine the exact order of base pair in an individual. That is genome sequencing. Little bit talk about Human Genome Project. It is of immense importance with respect to your prelims examination. Human Genome Project is a publicly funded international research initiative with the objective of determining the sequence of chemical base pairs in human DNA. Its goal is to identify and map all the genes of the human genome. Now, Genome India project. The Department of Biotechnology, mind this thing, this department associated with the projects are of great importance with respect to your prelims examination. UPSC does reflect these things in statement wise of questions. So better focus on it. Department of Biotechnology initiated the ambitious Genome India project in 2020. It aims to collect 10,000 genetic samples from citizens across India to build a reference genome. The primary aim is create a detailed reference that encapsulates the Indian population's genetic makeup and understanding of its different diversity. Because in India, we know that there are certain tribal population which are having different kind of genome associated because of the homogeneous approaches. B. It may revolutionize the healthcare, empowering basic research and clinicals, leading to transformative precision intervention. The point they are trying to convey here is, for say, if I already know that based on this kind of base pair, a particular X disease is taking place. If I already know that this kind of base pair is taking place in other human body, and if I cut that particular base pair from the other human's body, I can save the life of that particular human body from the disease X. This is the great importance of this Genome India project or Human Genome Project. Now discuss the second topic, the wildfires in Los Angeles. We know that recently multiple wildfires have destroyed homes, businesses and covered cities and highways in smoke in Southern California, United States. This topic is very important with respect to the Environment GS paper 3. So first, what are the wildfires? Wildfires are the uncontrolled fires in the wildland area like forest, grassland or the brushlands. It does have certain environmental impact, or I would say the negative environmental impact. The negative environmental impact. First, it releases CO2 in the atmosphere. First, it releases CO2 in the atmosphere. Second, the wildfire smoke contain harmful chemicals. Third, the wildfire can contaminate water with carbon monoxide. First, second, the third. And fourth, it can definitely reduce the diversity of the plants and the animals of the particular area. These are the certain negative impacts of the wildfire associated. Environmental impact, wildlife harms and human communities. They even pose a great risk to the human settlement of the particular area. The causes of the wildfire, this current wildfire. First, the Santa Ana winds played a huge role. The climate change and the human intervention, these kind of things are there which might be a probable reasons for the causes of the wildfires. So a little bit discuss regarding the Santa Ana winds with the prelims perspective. First of all, these winds typically occur in fall or in winter. The winds blown from the inland high desert area towards the California coast. This origin is of great prelims point. Even the seasonal occurrence, sometimes they even ask in structured format, or I would say in statement based questions. Mountain effect. Wind passes over the mountain ranges and then descends. As winds descend, they become compressed due to atmospheric pressure, and that led to the warm up of the wind. The warming lowers the relative humidity of the already desert air. The dry air increases the potential for desiccating vegetation, fueling the fires in the area. This is the last topic of today's discussion, the MSP. We have witnessed that over the past year, first there was a protest regarding the farm bills. The government had to take the farm bills back. Again, recently we got to know that the farmers are still protesting. One particular state, Haryana, has said that I will allow MSP for all the crops. So why there are so much hue and cries related to the MSP aspect, the legal provisions? So we discussed related to the MSP issue with respect to prelims examination with this video. Yes, this topic is of great importance with respect to the GS paper 3 agriculture aspect. First, talk about MSP. MSP, in a very general manner, just understand that the government is trying to safeguard the interests of the farmers from the market fluctuations. That is why MSP is being formulated and announced for the 23 crops. It is a guaranteed amount paid to farmers when the government buys their produces. It's been decided by the CCEA based on the CACP recommendations. Announced for 23 major crops, 7 cereals, 7 oilseeds, 5 pulses and 4 commercial crops. Commercial crops, again UPSC may ask this commercial crop aspect of MSP in prelims examination. So these crops are copra, sugarcane, raw jute and last cotton. These 4 commercial crops are covered under the MSP. Additional MSPs are being given by the government for tori and de-husk coconut based on the related crops. A little bit thing regarding Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices CACP. It is an attached office of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India, and it is an advisory body. But generally, whatever they recommend, government accept the value given by them or the prices decided by them or suggested by them. CACP in India considers 3 kind of production cost: A2, A2 and FL and C2. A2 mostly talk about the production cost, which is as the direct cost to farmers incurs to produce a crop. For example, the cost of fertilizer, the cost of seed, pesticide, machinery, fuels are the part of this A2 cost. Now second, A2 plus FL. A2 plus FL is A2 plus the cost of unpaid family labor. Unpaid family labor. Third, C2. C2 is A2 plus FL plus the cost of fixed capital asset, the cost of fixed capital assets and foregone interest on owned land. One very prelims exam specific understanding that the government decide these 3 production crop for each crop, and after deciding these 3 production costs, the MSP is being decided, which is majorly based on the 1.5 times of A2 and FL cost of the particular crop. Now, with respect to the crops, 3 major prices are there. First MSP, second procurement, and third issue price. So just a little, we talk about the procurement price. The procurement price is the price at which the government buys the food grains, right? MSP is usually considered the procurement price, but it is a little bit different because the motto is different. Key agencies FCI and the state agencies handle wheat and paddy procurement. Third, the central issue price or the issue price. The issue price is say The price at which government provides food grains to beneficiaries under the National Food Security 2013 Act. Or for say the government buys this food grain for the aspect of PDS. This is the issue price. Wheat and rice are sold at the uniform CIP to the states and uniform union territories. This is our very prelims specific data. And its distribution is done by the food grains are distributed through targeted public distribution system. Now, one more very important aspect with respect to your prelims examination. Have a look towards this. Have a look towards this picture. We say that this paddy is increasing, consistently increasing. Even this, we say that jowar is consistently increasing. We say the bajra is consistently increasing. We say the fair maize is increasing. For the ragi is increasing. For the paddy grade A is increasing. This figure shows, or even with the go with the particular data. For say 2022, it was 1868, then 1940, then 2040, then 2183, and now 2024, 2025. The common paddy MSP is 2300. That means we need witness a consistent increase. A consistent increase is visible. A consistent increase is visible. Every single time you see that the consistent increase is visible. Consistent increase. So for your prelims examination, UPSC somehow or sometimes makes a statement based on the comparison, and without even giving a data, they may ask that for the past 5 years, the MSP across the crops has been consistently increasing. Statement 1. For that particular thing, this data needs to be understood by you, that yes, the statement will be correct. So this is all for today's Daily News Decoded section from the Next IAS YouTube channel side. I hope you people will keep understanding a lot and will improving your content with the help of these videos. All the best. Thank you very much.